Barbara McQuade is the former U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. She now teaches law at the University of Michigan. Barb, thanks for being with us on One Detroit.
Well, you bet, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's talk about Operation Legend, as they are calling it, and what this federal presence of law enforcement officers actually means in the city of Detroit.
I think that one thing we should be mindful of is this is not what is happening in Portland. I think that they're a program they call Operation Diligent Valor, and I wish they would get rid of these militaristic sounding names because I don't think they help.
Yeah.
But that is an effort to protect federal property from protesters. There have been a lot of problems with that, a lot of concerns about overreach, using militaristic uniforms and tactics and other things. As I understand Operation Legend, this is a more traditional law enforcement strategy of bolstering local resources with federal agents. Now, it's not without its concerns. I think because of the way President Trump has used agents in a way that I think some critics have suggested are to advance his political agenda. I think there is value in having some skepticism and making sure that good questions are asked about exactly what are these agents going to be doing in Detroit. But I will tell you, during the time I served as U.S. Attorney, we welcomed additional assets from federal agents who can do a lot of things that are really helpful, like gun tracings and helping with apprehension of fugitives, using data analytics to help find crime hotspots. So there's some really valuable tools that can bring to the table. But I think asking good questions to make sure that that's what they have in mind and not what's happening in Portland.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways there is maybe not an intentional, but some kind of effort to conflate these two things, right? That you come out and say, I'm going to send federal law enforcement officers to deal with protesters, and then a week later you announce this program in Detroit. Some people will be confused.
Yeah, and I don't know what's intentional and what's not. But I do think that the way President Trump handles law enforcement can be harmful. For example, announcing this initiative out of the White House and talking about how he needs to dominate the streets and call it a battle space with the use of force, referring to the cities that he's addressing as cities run by Democrat mayors. Those are not helpful. And I wish Attorney General William Barr would be a little stronger in talking about this is not a political operation. These are actions being sent to cities to supplement them. I know I read that the mayor of Kansas City said he found out that agents were coming to Kansas City by reading about it on Twitter. I would hope that the Justice Department does a better job of coordinating with mayors and with police chiefs so that they can be used in a collaborative way. Again, when I was U.S. Attorney, we had agents come to Detroit. There are agents already in Detroit, who are here permanently. But it was always a very cooperative conversation. And I think that continues to be the case. And I would expect that would continue to be the case. We have a strong mayor. We have a strong police chief who I don't think will settle for anything less.
Yeah. So I know this is not what they're doing in Detroit, but I want to talk just a little about this idea of dispatching federal law enforcement officers to deal with protesters, the legality of that, the optics of it. As you said, the move is ostensibly to protect federal property, but how proper is that?
I think it is technically lawful, but optically awful. And so, just because law enforcement can do something doesn't mean they should do something. And there have been reports of actually unlawful conduct by those agents who are in Portland. And so the idea is that the Federal Protective Service is a small agency that provides security for courthouses and other federal property. They have the ability to defend, and they really should do this work, right? I mean, if people are burning a courthouse or even spray painting it or throwing things at it, they have a duty to defend that courthouse and to charge people if they're committing assault on an officer or property damage. But one of the things they're doing is then straying a bit from that mission. We've heard reports, even affidavits from individuals who have been arrested, taken into custody in vans, questioned, and then released without any charges. They do have the ability to arrest someone if they have probable cause to believe that they have committed one of those crimes involving destruction of federal property, or if a crime is committed in the officer's presence. But the idea of being kind of a roving police force throughout the city is not part of that mission. And so I think one of the problems is this is a group that is not trained in crowd control. So these agents are way out of their league, frankly. They're wearing military uniforms without name badges. And it has the feel to me that they're being used as stage props in a way that is abusive to them and degrades public confidence in all federal agents. And as you said, conflates in people's minds, this is what federal agents do. And this is historically not what federal agents do. So I know there's been reports today that they're going to withdraw from Portland and have state officers take on dealing with protesters, which is probably just a healthier formula for success.
Okay, Barb McQuade, former U.S. Attorney and current Professor of Law at the University of Michigan. Great to have you here with us.
Thanks, Stephen. Great to be with you.
Thank you.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.